Welcome back. Let's try and pick up on the conversation we started a few minutes ago with Dr. Nishal Khusial, who is the head of digital forensics and AI at Forvis Mazars. We were talking about the 9th of December being International Anti-Corruption Day and a bit of a focus on the digital aspects of fraud and corruption and how that dimension is becoming ever more pronounced in South Africa. Doc, I believe we have you on a much better line. So let's pick up where we left off. You were talking about vulnerabilities as they manifest in government and in the private sector within their systems. And you were talking to me about the 3 dimensions of that. Please pick up from there.
Indeed. Thank you, good to Lissy's. So we were exploring the possibility that when we're looking at cybercrime, we have to look at it from a geopolitical, from a corporate and an individualized level. On the geopolitical side, most certainly, mostly what we are talking about over there is the governmental sphere. There are different approaches for each of those 3 categories. On the corporatized sphere, it is going to be a bit more private sector focused. There are distinct strategies that we do need with each of those individual spheres, the geopolitical, corporate, and individualized. But as a nutshell, what we need to be aware of holistically is that if we are talking about cybercrime and how cybercrime has incrementally become more sophisticated, awareness is very important. Understanding governance, risk controls, the legislative landscape in support of both the geopolitical landscape, furthermore, as well as the corporate landscape. Understanding our human condition in the sense of our rationale and vulnerability on the basis of social engineering, on the basis of exploitation, very important. And I did also include the fact that when we are looking at cybercrime holistically, the best defense that we have is to look at a more diversified and inclusive approach to the solution. In the geopolitical sense, it would be inclusivity insofar as the developed and developing nations are concerned. And that is a greater discussion. If we are talking about corporate, the inclusivity dimensions would then be ensuring that all sequence of a value chain within the corporate environment are considered and protected. And individually, well, that becomes a bit more complicated because different demographics contribute to a solution of protection. So not an easy answer, but I think as a foundation, we should look at that.
So just between the 3, geopolitical, and if I perhaps apply my just general knowledge, I suppose geopolitical would have to do with state upon state or state-backed actors launching cyber attacks, just the way I would understand it. Then you said there's the corporate level of it and the individualized level of it. Between those 3, which one presents a more prominent and urgent threat for us as South Africa?
Great question. I think if we are going to be quite honest with ourselves and unpack that a bit, we are sitting in a situation where South Africa, in its unique economic position as the gateway to Africa, is most certainly one of the focus areas for cyber criminals, for syndicates. We, insofar as our crime index is concerned within South Africa, have a global average, which is above, from an exploitation point of view, the norm. So this comes with the territory on the premise that from a fiscal and financial level, the geopolitical landscape is very important. But I'd like us to also expand our consciousness to consider that if we are looking at it from an individual level, our education with respect to exploitation, our education with respect to how we securitize our environments as individuals contribute upwards, both towards the geopolitical sphere as well as the corporatized sphere. So as much as we should be cognitive of the macro, we should also consider that it is the micro building blocks that get us to a protection on the macro level.
So let's talk capacity then to respond. And I know this is a conversation happening at multiple agencies. The SAPS is grappling with it. The National Prosecuting Authority are grappling with it. The SIU and many, many other players. What capacities do we have as we speak at the moment to be, 1, on guard and alert, but 2, with the wherewithal to investigate as and when incidents occur, investigate, get to the bottom such that, there's a deterrent effect such that this won't happen again?
That's a very insightful question to Way, and I'm going to be straight and not pull any punches here. From a geopolitical point of view, which we had ascribed is more our public sector focus area and and intra-continental relationship, there is quite a lot to be done. We're not at a spot as a developing nation where we have the infrastructure and the connectivity to be a player which is equivalent to a developed nation. My suggestion would be there that we have to be a bit more creative with how we deploy our infrastructure and technology. Indeed, one of the focus areas within the G20 that we contributed to was how do we as a developing nation take our infrastructure and use more innovative and creative ways to shape it in order to respond to our cybersecurity reality and the cyber criminal breaches that we find ourselves in. So geopolitically, we definitely have a lot of work to do. Collaboration and bilateral and multilateral agreements speak to an intention. Corporately, I must say, on the corporate side and on the private sector side, there is a fair amount of maturation which is happening on the basis of us understanding cybersecurity. The fact that we're having this dialogue is a demonstration of our understanding and our move towards trying to be a bit more prevalent and proactive in the sense. Individually, however, I do want to explore the possibility that there is a lot of work which needs to be done for us to educate the masses.
All right, let's leave it there. Hopefully, as you and I continue to have these conversations, that level of awareness and education does intensify. Dr. Nishal Khusial, Head of Digital Forensics and AI at Forvis Mazars South Africa.